Welcome back to the Wrestling Related Podcast, where the topics are related to wrestling. The two of us are related to each other because the third of us is not here with us today. You do not get Dustin. Instead, you get Josh and
Corey.
And you guys are catching us on demand on your favorite podcast platform, whatever that may be. Make sure you leave us a like, a comment, subscribe, or follow us on whatever platform that is. And did you know, by the way, that you can watch this podcast on YouTube and on Spotify? That's right. Spotify apparently has video for podcasts, and we are one of the few. Yeah. It was kind of weird when I was playing around with that and I hit like play on the Spotify for podcast for one of our episodes, and all of a sudden our faces pop up. I'm like, wait, that was weird. I was just going to listen to it. So,
you're like, ooh, who are those guys?
I was like, I got to look at myself.
Wait, that's us.
Yep.
I see those guys enough.
But before we get to the predictions, and to give you a little bit more time to think about the predictions, because you haven't thought about thinking about the predictions.
Not even a little bit, no.
Let's do a little bit of a weekly recap, and let's do the WWE recap first, then we'll come into the AEW. So we'll kick off.
What happened this last week?
Last week, on SmackDown, the big thing was that Roman came out to get the what's the necklace called? The Ula Fale, or I'm butchering that, I'm sure, but whatever it was. Coming out to get that. And then there was a little bit of a beatdown. And then we get Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
Jumping Roman.
Just as soon as we get the word that the Fed is looking at kind of drawing this out a little bit before they put those two together, then here Jacob's in there and he throws a super kick with the boot on, and I had to walk around with one of those things for about 6 to 9 months, and I'm telling you that
not a fan.
No, thank you.
Yep.
No, that does not have like a 1/4 inch to an inch of foam or rubber sole like a pair of sneakers or even wrestling boots. No.
I enjoyed that gimmick, the whole schmoz fest that was there. I'm thinking back on Paul Heyman last year sometime talking about how we were like in early innings of the Bloodline storyline. And here I am, and I'm like, I'm glad that we're on early innings, because I don't see this going anywhere for a while, and at least not going away. I see a variety of paths it can take, and that's what I'm excited about, because I don't know which way it's going. I mean, I think obviously everybody kind of knows that we're looking at some type of a Survivor Series War Games match. And there's going to be that. And I think most of us are thinking that there's going to have to be something with Roman and Rock somewhere down the road, maybe even next WrestleMania. But how do we get there? What path does it take? And even with the last couple WrestleManias where plans change, you don't know. And I'm in for it. I'm enjoying it.
Right. I did hear that the Bloodline versus Bloodline is pretty much set as far as the plan goes for Survivor Series, War Games. So that's great news. The only questions really is it a 4-on-4? Is it a 5-on-5?
Right.
I mean, at this point, and then at this point in time, if it's 4-on-4, who all is going to be in the mix on Roman's side? And if it's 5-on-5, then who all is going to be in the mix on both sides?
Right.
Because we've still got
3 months?
Yeah. 3 months. 2 more family members that have been rumored to be jumping in the mix.
Yep. Talatonga,
Who knows?
Zilla Fatu, who knows?
And the only one that isn't blood in that mix would be like Sami Zayn.
Exactly.
Because
and he's the
they're
honorary
playing that up. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Love that guy.
Yeah, he was Bloodline before Solo was. So,
hey,
no, I could see so many different ways of it going. How is it going to happen? I don't know. And yeah, and then you look at, okay, even, yeah, right now it looks like it should probably be a 4-on-4. And I'm guessing Roman, Jimmy and Jay, and Sammy Uso. Which that against the other 4 would be great. I think that would also be a perfect opportunity for another one to come for Bloodline 2.0. Maybe Tala Tonga comes out at that point.
yeah.
You know, so who knows? But or maybe that's The Rock's music hitting at that time. Because there's also where's he play into this?
Who knows?
And maybe Solo taking lead of the Bloodline was at the order of The Rock versus at Roman. So then it's like, well, now that's setting up even more. It's intriguing.
And it's layers upon layers upon layers that they can go. So many options. It's good. It's good for TV. It's good for your casual fan. It's good for your diehard fan. It's good for your smart marks. It's good for people in the business to keep us guessing and just, or that used to be or no longer, or that are just like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Yep.
I can't call it. Looks great. I love it.
Yep. Don't know. I'm enjoying it. I think we started off SmackDown. There was the Tiffany Stratton throwing Nia Jax a celebration and the Pretty Deadly musical. That was hilarious. Oh, it was so hilarious. I don't like Nia's crown, though.
I hung in there until we got to Pretty Deadly, the musical. And
I wasn't with it until that point. Because before that, I was like, have I really got to watch this? I mean, it's wrestling. We've seen a million of them over the years.
Right, but then I had to backtrack when I started seeing someone swinging a cane, and I was like, "Oh, okay,
correct."
All right, now I'm curious.
Yep,
which was all right.
It was fun. I got a kick out of that. I'm trying to think. There was a good tag match. Wasn't that Street Profits and DIY?
Yes,
that was awesome.
That one was by far one of the better matches that I've seen in a long time. And before we get ahead of ourselves and start talking about AEW, I enjoyed that more than the FTR and Acclaimed.
Yep.
Which I was, I had gotten excited because I was like, oh, okay, another team that I haven't seen FTR work for a while, and so let's check it out. And then I realized quickly that, wow, that was too much for the Acclaimed. They couldn't, and they had a near-death experience in the ring, and with that botched superplex that I jumped up out of my seat, and I was like, that was rough.
Too much. Yep. But no, the Street Profits and DIY and it was just so good.
Had me bouncing.
Yeah.
It was really, really good.
Like, that's the type of match that, I mean, I think smart wrestling fans know how good DIY is. You can look back and you can watch some of their stuff in NXT, and it's incredible. You get them over onto the main roster. Undersized, maybe, for the rest of the tag division, but they are in-ring, they're sound, and they're good, and their chemistry is spot on. And it was good to see them in the ring with the Street Profits, because I've seen DIY in the ring, and there are occasional teams they're going against, like, Grayson Waller and what's his name?
Yeah,
can't even remember. Austin Theory. I watch those guys against DIY, and it's like, meh, it's all right. It's nothing too spectacular. But then you see Street Profits in with them, and it's like, oh, yeah, this is really good. Street Profits are better than people give them credit for. Like, they might be one of
really are.
the most
They really
underrated tag teams out there. It's good.
I would argue that they are definitely a sleeper. That people are just like, they just have no idea how good those guys are. And DIY, no idea how good those guys are.
Right.
And nothing they do looks rushed or like they're walking through it, like they're going through the motions, like they're none of it. I mean, it all just looks like super sound, solid, every time, and that's what you got to back.
Yep.
You got what? I don't even know the guys' names on the Street Profits. I just know you got one.
Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford.
Yeah, Montez Ford is the skinnier one, right?
Yeah, husband of Bianca Belair.
Sure. And he's in phenomenal shape, has a great look. I find it comical that he starts doing his flippy, flashy, whatever to start the match.
Yeah.
And he starts to lose me, but the second he throws that out the door and just wrestles, then all of a sudden I'm glued. I'm glued. I don't need the extra flippy. It does nothing for him.
I would love to see him.
Guy, Dawkins.
Yeah.
Dawkins, I think people underrate him because that dude, while he doesn't have $1 million body, I mean, he is so deceptively athletic.
Yep. Agile for a big man.
Oh my goodness. That guy does stuff that it's like people half his size gotta go over and over and over, and he's just like, whatever.
Well, and
just putting in my hours.
Early on watching him, I wasn't quite sure what I thought of his corner splash where he does the like 360 jump, but the more I see it, the more I like it, just because it's like when you think about a corner splash, you've got Sting. Like, unless you're a big man like a Vader just trucking in and just devouring somebody, the only other variation you really got is Sting, who practically overshoots them every single time. And you can't do much of a variation. Every other one looks the exact same. Until I get to Angelo Dawkins doing it, I was like, it looks different. It still looks like it has impact. It's almost like a combination of a corner splash and a discus lariat, because he's spinning and hitting at the same time. And it's just the elevation, it's the spin that when he hits it, I'm like, you know what? I'll take it.
See, and I maybe seen it just enough that I forget it.
Oh, that could
so
be.
it's not noticeable enough that I'm like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm just like, okay.
It's one of those that I see it coming, and like, there's a lot of wrestlers, they've got their spots that they always do, and a lot of them have their own corner spots, and it's like, okay, yeah, they're going to do boom-ba-da, 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 whatever. With him, I'm looking, as soon as he sets up for it, it's like, oh, okay, here comes the splash. And then I'm just looking to see how it looks, where others I just don't even care.
It's one of his signature moves.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's made it a signature.
And their finisher, the electric chair blockbuster, like two of the moves that are, you would think, okay, it's a blockbuster, it's not a big deal, you got to jump, do a front flip, and then, no, it's actually harder, much harder than you think, because you've got to somehow figure out how, with your forward momentum and your upward trajectory, that you're grabbing a hold of them in time to make it look like you're not completely just clotheslining them or back elbowing them. And then the electric chair drop, you do that wrong, you wind up hurting yourself, or you wind up hurting the other guy.
So here's something that a lot of people won't understand, unless they've been in there. There is a certain degree of, you've got to time your fall with your opponent's fall and not and two people of different size and different mass fall at different rates.
You're right.
And now you have three people. And you have to get them to try and land pretty close to the same.
That's
for it to
all Angelo
look
Dawkins.
Crazy. Whoa.
That is 100% Angelo Dawkins. I mean,
right.
Montez Ford, he's got to get up and over the opponent.
He's got to get ups.
He's got to get up, and he's got to get in position. But once he's up and in position, it's completely out of his control. And that is all Montez Ford, making sure that they both land all right and that he gets out of the way so he doesn't hurt himself or the other guy. And it's just, it's good. It's one of those that it's a fairly simple in concept finisher, but it's a variation that we don't really see, and the execution that they do is really good.
Too easy to screw up and hurt somebody in that one.
Yeah.
And by hurt, I mean injure.
Right.
I mean, none of that, sorry, spoiler alert, none of that in the ring feels good. Nothing tickles.
Yeah.
It is not bouncing on the bed with your brother at like 9 years old. That's not how it is.
An easier version of that is if Angelo Dawkins was in a powerbomb position. You only got two going down, and he's able to see and watch, but he's doing it blind.
Full control to speed him up, slow him down a little bit. Yeah.
And and it might even look better doing that because of the power, but at the same time, the way he does it, it's just, I don't know. I like it. I'm impressed. I like it. I really liked that match. I thought they did a great job. It was the highlight for me on Friday because as I was kind of watching, it was like, man, I mean, there was Andrade versus, I think, Carmelo. And it was like,
for the third time.
Yeah. And it was like, meh, it was all right. What was it? I think Naomi had a match. I don't even remember. Oh, it was against Blair Davenport. And it was like, again, for the third time. And it was like, meh. And I'm sure there were a couple others that I forgot about already. That one was just like the Street Profits DIY set itself apart. And it's like, these are the guys that need to be in that tag team title. And that's why I was glad to hear that the winner of those is going on to face the Bloodline for the belts. So
good. Now with KO and
that's right,
Cody.
Yeah.
There's people speculating that one of them may turn at the PLE. I would probably be very disappointed to see Cody turn this early.
Right.
He hasn't played out the baby long enough, and he's still. I mean, his entrance music kicks, and all of a sudden the entire stadium goes banana.
Yeah.
So, why shoot yourself in the foot there? There's no slowing down on it.
Correct.
It's just building.
And from a money perspective, he's still white hot on merch sales, so it's like,
absolutely,
why would you pump the brakes on that at all?
Right. Now, if you see the pendulum slowing down and getting ready to swing the other way, okay, I can see that. But I don't think at this point. So then begs the question, do we see KO turn, or is it they're going to just do a straight up match as planned, and maybe it gets a little heated, a little tough, but then they kind of come out of it, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those that they had to do something in the interim with Cody, and we got to have some type of a filler. What are we going to do in the meantime? So, I mean, it works. I don't mind it one bit. I think the easier thing is Cody, or not Cody. It's Kevin. Just reverting back to what he typically is, where he's like a true tweener.
And I haven't looked at the roster. Are they a little more baby heavy on SmackDown side?
I don't know.
Don't look it up. Just
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't.
I mean, if you take
it doesn't
Bloodline
feel
out
that way. Yeah, even taking the bloodline out of it, I'm not sure it really feels that way. But I don't know.
Name for heels, singles.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, you got.
I get the brands all mixed up all the time, anyways.
Right. I mean, Logan Paul just dropped a belt, but he's there part time.
Yeah.
Even though he's apparently been talking like he wants to come on full time. So, okay. He's over like Rover, so why not? But then, and AJ hasn't been back for a while, so why not?
True.
And then who else? Carmelo?
Yeah. Carmelo.
Yeah. See, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Somebody.
Yeah, that's true. Although, and the weird thing, like, I don't know. I'm not sure I've ever liked WWE's brand split. I'm not sure I've ever liked when you've got people on Raw and people on SmackDown, partially because they don't truly run it like two separate companies.
Mm-hmm.
And so they try to run it essentially like AEW does with Dynamite and Collision.
Yeah.
The only difference is they're saying, well, this guy's only going to be on here and this guy's only going to be there and they're going to be exclusive. But then they don't really all the time. And then they're constantly switching up the roster. Whereas I like the way AEW does it better because it's like, well, no, if we need somebody to go over to Collision, they're going to go to Collision. And if we need them on Dynamite, they're going to go to Dynamite. They're not exclusive. Right. They may work here primarily, but they can really go anywhere. I wish WWE would do more of that. Like I'm good with them having honestly, I think the only exclusives they should have should be the champions. Have your Raw, championships that are there, the SmackDown championships that are over there, but then say somebody's like in the heavyweight title picture and then all of a sudden they lose a match and no, you can't challenge again. Well, fine, I'm jumping ship and I'm going over here and I'm doing that. Like that I would be okay with. It would also be easier in this scenario of like, we need an extra heel. So let's just grab one. Instead of doing a mock draft that we talked about that a couple months ago where it was like you're playing too much and the draft doesn't even feel like any draft that any sport has ever had.
Right.
So it's like, oh, you're all coming out and you've already know what your picks are. I mean, what were you doing? Talking to each other in the backstage and I'm going to pick this guy. Oh, well, I was going to, so let me erase and I'll put that. No, that's not how drafts go. You find out who's off the board and then you got like 5 minutes to figure it out. But the splitting, I don't like that. And I guess when you think about it, like the more I think about it, when you're bringing up heel heavy or face heavy, it doesn't feel that way than on Raw. Like Raw, there's more heels that I can think about, over there because you start thinking about, the heels and it's like, well, of course you've got, the Gunther, you've got all of Judgment Day, you've got Ludwig Kaiser, Bronson Reed, like they're just coming out the word work, Chad Gable. So there's definitely more that I can start rattling off in there. And it's like, why not have somebody just go over?
Do you think that's because there's not as many on SmackDown or because we just haven't seen them in so long we've now forgotten about them?
I probably a combination of both. And maybe more since we haven't seen them, we've kind of forgotten about them is probably more of it. Especially when I think about I think about SmackDown, I immediately go to the Bloodline feud. And that's it. Like at half the time I'm forgetting that Cody's even over there. It's just like because I don't know where he's at.
See, for me, I'm thinking it's Cody and the Bloodline. And then I'm wondering who else is there.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other side, I'm like, okay, we got Judgment Day, which is now split. So we got part heel, but then we also have, whatever's the champions are going on at the time.
Yeah. Well, and like Gunther and Randy Orton and Sheamus and Drew
and
McIntyre and CM
Orton
Punk.
was over on SmackDown, and there's another example
Yeah.
where the draft really doesn't
Right.
do anything because Randy can just walk on over and challenge for the championship.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. So yeah, there's
that disbelief.
A lot of that it's like, man, just stop making us think it's one or the other, and just go back to it's two different shows. It's all one roster, and yes, we have multiple champions. Although
who's the tag champs on Raw? Yep. I drew a blank.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know.
I really don't know. Somebody that beat Awesome Truth for him?
Oh, it was Judgment Day.
Oh yeah. There you go. Should know they have him back, but they don't defend him, and it's like,
right.
Well, and then this goes to one of the complaints that we've had early on. We had about AEW, way too many belts. And there are so many belts that they have that you start to lose track of who's actually got a belt. But now it's easier for me to remember AEW champions. I think both companies have about the same amount of belts. But the problem is I can't remember, perfect case. I forgot who the champion was. I had to sit here and think about it for a second, even though I know all of AEW's, I think.
My biggest issue with AEW has got to be the belt situation, because everybody and their mother has at least one, if not multiple belts.
Yeah.
So where's the importance of it?
They also have a really big roster.
Right, but it's because they've also kind of swallowed up all the Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And even some, what is it, AAA or CMLL, whichever one that they're working with right now. And then somebody might also have a New Japan, but also then somebody also has something else. Mm-hmm. And they're letting everybody and their mother has all these different belts. And now you've got honorary belts, like with the Owen Hart thing. And it's like, everybody gets a belt. It's really turned into the Oprah Winfrey show of you get a belt,
you get a car, and you get a car.
Belt.
Yeah,
because and at that point in time, whatever.
Right. I do wish
and the belt's on the line. Big whoop.
Yeah, I do wish there were fewer belts. I'm not a big fan of Ring of Honor needs to stand on its own.
Thank you.
And I'm okay with a Ring of Honor champion.
And they can.
Coming over to AEW and wrestling on AEW. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with them only constantly defending the Ring of Honor championships on AEW television. And it's just like, if that's what you're going to do, then how about you just make, absorb Ring of Honor into Collision or Rampage, whatever it is, and say, this is now Ring of Honor. And you do a Raw versus SmackDown where it's a complete split. But I would kind of prefer that they figure out some way of doing Ring of Honor differently. Separately would be nice. And yeah, bring them on. I think it would be good because it's both companies owned by Tony Khan and AEW. I think it would be wise to have some of them, bring them to the main roster, so to speak. That's what I don't like about NXT is if you don't watch NXT, partially because there's already 10 hours of wrestling just between the other two companies. Mm-hmm. If you don't watch NXT, then they put somebody from NXT up on the main roster. You have no idea who they are. And now you've got to try to get me to care who this person is and understand who this person is and root for this brand new person that just got the #1 draft pick, Braun Breaker. And it's but I've not seen you work once, so I don't know who you are. If you were that big of a get, Well, then maybe it would be like most of the other wrestling that happens where you start to bring them in here and there. You start to highlight them. Even if they did like a little vignette type of a recap. AEW could do that with Ring of Honor where it's just like this week in Ring of Honor. And just here's what happened, here's what happened, here's what happened to help us buy into them a little more.
I like that idea. It's they got a lot more options than what they're doing right now.
Yeah. But the belt
Raw
situation is out of hand. Like it really is
right now. Raw
was good.
I liked it.
I liked Raw. Trying to think back through. The one thing I didn't like about Raw was, honestly, I didn't really like Sheamus versus Pete Dunne. Like the match was good, but it
was okay.
It was just like, for storylines, there wasn't one. It's just like you're not really building this. It's just like you threw something together and you're like, hey guys, yeah, Raw's still a 3-hour show. Can you go fill some time for us because we don't have anything better? And to me, it's disrespectful, I think, both to the audience and to those wrestlers of saying, yeah, we don't have anything for you, so just run out there and do something.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's the fact that it's Sheamus that's being put in that scenario, that it's shining a bigger light on it.
It could be.
Because he should stand on a bigger level than where they kind of just resided keeping him.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Sheamus is great. Like, Pete Dunne's great. I love his in-ring work. I love the intensity that he has with it. And yet this is Sheamus. I mean, the dude can work with anybody, and he's big, and he's got a great look. Even when he came out just a little heavy, because he came back a couple weeks early, he's still got a great look, and he can work, and he's freakishly strong, and all of that makes him believable. That he, I believe you put Sheamus in with anybody, and Sheamus can beat them any given day. It doesn't really matter. He doesn't need just all the right situations. Totally. He can do it. So that's the thing that, to me, it's like they're really underutilizing Sheamus. And that's where it was like, I mean, you don't have to necessarily put him into the main event picture. That's the other thing I think with all these belts, it does a disservice to storytelling. Because then all of a sudden, what storylines are there that haven't really involved a title belt? And that aren't involving a title belt? Really the only one going right now is the Bloodline.
Drew and Punk
is the other one, yeah. Everything else on both companies.
Because they found a way of taking a personal issue and making it public.
And I go back to the Attitude Era. I don't remember titles really being involved.
I remember big title changes that were there was something unique about it.
Mick Foley beating The Rock on Raw.
Because they called it out on Nitro. And you could hear all the channels clicking over the U.S.
Yep.
All of a sudden, all the way across.
Because it was unique. But some of the biggest storylines...
Finger poke of doom.
Right.
That's what you remember.
Right. But most of the big storylines... I mean, even the original Outsiders with the NWO, the Outsiders Invasion and everything, that wasn't around a belt.
Nope.
It wasn't until months later that all of a sudden that comes in. When I sit there and I think back on WWE, I mean, one of the first things of this, Attitude Era that I start thinking back on was D-Generation X. I know that the New Age Outlaws were tag team champions, but I don't remember anybody ever really chasing for the tag team champs. I just remember DX ridiculing, making fun of, and running roughshod over everybody. I remember Steve Austin and Brian Pillman and their feud. Don't know if it was over a title or not. I just know it felt real.
It felt real because Pillman's sitting there on his couch with his foot up in the air, and Austin trying to break in the house, and Pillman pulling out a gun.
Pew pew. Yep.
Going, whoa.
Right.
Whoa. We've gone off the rails, people. What's going on?
Yeah. Those are the things that I think so many titles have done a disservice, where we've fallen on the just some of the storytelling. And that's where you got like a guy like Sheamus. There's so many different ways that you could go to have a Pete Dunne Sheamus feud that we actually will start to believe and buy into. But they're just not doing it. And I think some of that, even though WWE is great at storytelling, they're obviously dropping the ball in certain areas.
And let's not browbeat them or AEW, any of them, over the head with it. But the fact of the matter is, there's just certain things that just kind of like become a little bit of an eyesore.
Yeah.
You know, it's like going on a date with a pretty woman that happens to have like this one single zit right in the middle of her forehead, and you're like,
and it is a nitpicking thing, because like
not that that's gonna stop me from going out, but it's like ooh, might have wanted to I don't know, put some concealer on it or something. Just hard to not see.
It's like I mean, I watched Raw.
Hopefully it'll be better next week.
Right. I watched Raw. I enjoyed Raw. That was the only thing that I really was like, really? Because
yeah, and I didn't. It's not. Are you talking about the match?
Yes, that was the only thing from all of Raw that I was just like, meh.
I didn't hate on it. I was just not as excited or bought in as I felt like I should have been.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
But I don't know. It was not the worst thing on the show. I guarantee that, because they also had the some women's tag team thing with the forehead crew.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I fast forwarded through all that mess.
That's right. That was really bad. Yeah.
Okay. I just saw that was next, and I was like, okay, we're going 2 commercial breaks in, and then we're going to stop.
Yeah, I was watching it live. That was bad. So it was not fun.
I gave them a chance 2 weeks ago, and it was god awful.
I was hoping they would have changed their name in the last week, but they didn't.
I was like, I've seen indie matches that made me pop. This is not.
You know, the good thing is when you put Damage Control and I don't know, the whatever Fusion
Scottish
something, you put them in with Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, and all of a sudden I was like, ooh, I actually kind of like Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Like, they're actually pretty good. I didn't realize they were this good until you put them in with a couple of snooze fests, and it's just like. And I really like the Kairi Sane and Io Sky. There was a big botch. They were trying to do like the Fusion was out on the outside, and I think it was Kairi Sane running towards Io Sky, and she was going to like press her up over her head to do a springboard to the outside, and she didn't clear her legs, so her legs got hooked up on the arm, and she fell on her gut on the top rope. And then just fell to the outside and like did a double leg drop. And then
Gross.
Michael Cole doing the best he can. And he's like, well, I don't know what happened there, but that was a unique offense to flip over and use the top rope to be able to attack. And I'm just like,
Cole, you're not gonna cover it up.
He did the best he could, but it was just like, it was bad. And
okay.
That was me thinking, you're trying to be too fancy. Like,
right. Now, true.
Dial it back.
On Michael Cole's part, one, we're not going to see Pat McAfee until
January.
That stinks, but
yeah,
we'll get there. But Michael Cole, who has come a long way since I stopped watching back in the day, but to try and cover that up that way, no. The fans know what the moves are. They know when something looks intentional and when something is just all jacked up. So just go, wow, somehow
Right.
they came out on top on that. That could have been so much worse, and how they came out on top with it, I don't even know.
Yeah.
But somehow she pulled out like some sort of leg drop thing on them, and now they're back in control. This is crazy. What are we watching? Something.
Yeah.
Whereas, which I think how he handled it is probably better than hearing Tony Schiavone over on Collision with Britt Baker giving a side Russian leg sweep, which he calls out as a side Russian leg sweep. And then later she does something else that is nothing like a side Russian leg sweep. But Tony calls it a side Russian leg sweep yet again. It's
Yeah.
like, Tony, I knew what that was at 9. You got to figure it out. Let's go.
Yeah. Nope. I think there were a couple other things from Raw last night. Where it looks like we're getting
good stuff.
Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman.
Yes, show me that.
That ought to be
these guys. I want to see the middle of the ring cave in. Let's go.
Yeah, that ought to be pretty good. That should be a good one. There was also the Drew McIntyre CM Punk promo. That was good. Like, I got a kick out of just that little bit of back and forth, still building it up.
And strap match.
And we're going to get a strap match. Yeah,
Called it.
You called it. So yeah,
match.
that was good. Also, going back to Chad Gable, Wyatt 6, the match that was leading into that, Maxine Dupree versus
the little pit bull,
Ivy Nile.
There you go.
Maxine Dupree looked good.
You know what? I had heard that she's really been coming along, and that she's been getting a lot of grief on social media or Twitter or whoever. The people just talking trash because she does look like a Barbie doll. I mean, she is pretty, and in great shape, and has abs, and kind of unfair to a lot of people that she looks the way she looks, and that she has the position that she has. However, is she, with those of us that have bumped in the ring, our whole thing is a respect thing. Is she putting in the work? Is she busting her butt? I mean, not everybody is going to be a Shawn Michaels. Not everybody can do that. But can you be the best that you can be? Are you putting in the work to try and be the best you can be? And people saying, well, she's doing the work, and people coming to her defense. So when I saw she was actually in a match instead of just being ringside and joining somebody else, then I was like, okay, let's check this out. And even before they got in the ring, just throwing Ivy into the barrier, I was like, oh,
somebody's putting in the work.
She putting in the work.
Yep.
Yeah. She's selling this before she's doing. Oh, yeah. She's got this. I like it.
It was good.
Putting some mustard on it.
Yep. Woo! I got a kick out of that. I also think that Ivy Nile, her selling job in the ring when the lights start to dim down, the look on her face, it's those subtle things that all of a sudden you got somebody that calls herself the pit bull or whatever, and it's like, and she is one of the stronger, more muscular women in the division, and for her to take that element of, oh no, what did I just get into? That sells, and that helps to build up, what's going to be apparently coming down the pipe. I guess Chad Gable is not the next target. It's now Ivy now. That was cool. It was good to see the Wyatt 6 in there. I enjoyed it.
This is where you make your money.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yep. And again, so another one putting in the work, because I think there's a lot of those, the big muscular workers. They rely more on the strength and the look of their muscles rather than the facial expressions. Mm-hmm. You get a lot of the ones that don't have the best bodybuilder look. Those are the ones that they master this first because they've got to see somebody that it does have that bodybuilder look coming in and working on that. It's like, oh, you keep working on this and you're going to start to take the advantage away from those that don't have your size and strength. And then your head and toes above them. So it's going to be interesting to see that. I thought that was a great segment. I really got a kick out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there was a lot of good stuff. I mean, there's stuff that we can nitpick and poke at and throw shade on, but there's still so much on both programs that we're just like, you know what? Still, when it comes time to turn it on, I'm turning it on.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there going, I wonder, I don't care, or maybe I'll watch it later. No, it's like, when am I going to check this out? Okay. I don't want to sit through commercials, so when do I start?
Right. And it was a good show, both SmackDown and Raw.
Yeah.
They're doing a great job of building the storylines going into Bash at Berlin to get us to buy in and to get us to care. So it's going to get those people looking forward to the PLE that's coming up.
Totally agree. AEW.
Let's
keep this rolling.
Last Wednesday on Dynamite, it's been a minute, so I've got to go back through and kind of look at some of the stuff, unless you got something right out the gate that's jumping to mind that you can remember.
I don't.
Okay.
I already talked trash about what I was going to complain about.
Mercedes Moné versus Hikaru Shida. They started off with that match. To me, going back and looking at that match and watching it, because Hikaru Shida she's great. There's a reason she's been the women's champion a couple different times. I wanted to see, how is this going to take place? How is it going to look? What's it going to look like? Mercedes showed me once again that she's much better in the ring than she is on the mic. I still think she might have a little bit of ring rust on her, because there's a couple things that she went for and it was like it just wasn't all there. And she also confirmed to me once again that I hate her new finisher. That stupid on the back, swing around, try to hook into a DDT. It's like,
she's tiny.
Just kick him in the face.
There's a certain thing there's a certain size that you got to break your head out of this whole idea that you are a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
A certain size, realizing that you are going to be more believable, and thereby putting more butts in seats, and thereby getting paid more, and thereby growing your business and your brand by throwing yourself in some fashion at your opponent instead of trying to throw your opponent.
Right.
I mean, there's a reason why while I could possibly press slam a couple people on a roster on an indie show, a press slam is not in my repertoire.
No.
Because the second that I try and commit to that, forget it. I'm going to be against somebody 50 pounds over my limit, and it's not happening. And I'm going to look like a fool and thereby make everybody look like a fool.
Yeah. I think she needs to change that finisher. I hope somebody will talk to her. I love the name of it, Moneymaker. Great. But to me, it's like, kick her in the face. Just give somebody an inverted curb stomp. Call that the Moneymaker.
Shining Wizard, Shining Enziguri, something like that. They're down, they're struggling to come up, and she can do a running, sliding blammo to the face. There, I just hit you in the Moneymaker.
Yeah. Anything that is a to the face type of impact move. And that's the other thing that I think, especially with smaller wrestlers, the impact moves, they make sense. Because impact, it doesn't matter how much force that somebody has with the muscles behind it. Anybody gets hit with a punch at the right spot, lights out. Doesn't matter who you are. Everybody can go out. So to have some type of that impact knockout move would be great for her to be able to use. This one is just, I don't like it. There's too much opportunity for it to look wrong. And if it doesn't come off perfect, it makes both of you look weak. And that's the finish. And everybody's going to remember the beginning and the finish. They're not going to remember what happened in between.
And when people also try to overcomplicate moves, it's rough. It's so rough. When I saw that she was on the card, I'm sorry, for me, too little, too late. This has been 3 months going, and now you want to try and show me a decent match?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm out. I was out 2 months ago. That's the first thing you do when you show up. You have 1 week where you tell us all that you're going to do. The next week you come out and show us everything you're going to do. If you haven't done it by then, I no longer care. There's other people I'm paying attention to.
You either do it fast or you drag it out, and if you're dragging it out, you better be a heel, and you better play that whiny little Christian Cage heel to where you don't actually get involved except for cheap shots, which we'll get to Christian Cage again in a little bit.
Put that guy on the back burner. We'll later.
I'm looking kind of through what here. Else? Hangman Adam Page versus Jay Lethal. I don't remember it. Let's see. Pac cut a promo. Don't remember it. Darby Allin and Jack Perry with It's a Coffin match.
Double don't care.
Hey, the Coffin match, I was kind of wondering if we were going to get something with some type of a stipulation in here. I just hope that Jack Perry knocks on it, looks at the camera and says, "It's a real coffin." And I think he should start doing that in every match that he does. It's a real whatever it is. Every opportunity has, just because.
And make t-shirts.
It's money. A real t-shirt.
Somebody, for the love of Pete, give that child a personality. Any personality, I don't care.
If he just played up the being
any
upset
emotion.
And hurt or offended by if he would play up that he's offended that veterans are trying to tell him what to do. You're old, you're washed up, you're a has-been, I am new, I am now, and you mean nothing. I don't need your advice. Your advice is irrelevant. It was only relevant 10 years ago.
And then go on a 6-month run facing every single vet in the locker room.
Like Randy Orton did. Like Randy Orton did back in the day with the Legend Killer. If he did something like that, it would be hilarious. And I do think, hey, if CM Punk over on WWE is going to make little jabs and take little shots at AEW every now and then, fine. All's fair in love and pro wrestling. If he wants to do that, Jack Perry, everything is real. This is a real shirt. This is a real promo. This is whatever. Just take the little jabs and it would be hilarious.
Own it.
Yeah. And you can still be the biggest heel and it's just, it would be fun.
Spoon-fed.
You're right. Take this, run with it. But I am kind of looking forward to that match just because I think we're going to see Jack Perry try to.
Are you telling me what's on an upcoming show or what happened?
Oh yeah, it was last one talking about the Coffin match that's coming up. Mariah May came out and cut a little promo on Tony Storm. Basically says that. What?
We just got done talking last week about me losing some interest in the all black bodysuit, slick back hair, Tony Storm, and then bam.
Right.
She's back, baby.
She's back.
Man. And she cut such a brilliant promo and Oh,
Yep.
and her little vignette on Collision is just like, oh, that was the highlight of my night.
Yeah.
I was like, yay,
Yep.
because
Um,
it's beautifully written,
she's
so
so good.
beautifully written.
So good. It was good to see Marina Shirakawa, or Mina Shirakawa, and she cut a little backstage promo. Renee asking her, "Hey, have you heard from them?" That type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Nope, haven't heard from either of them, and I hope nobody gets hurt." Especially when Mariah May is like, Tony's biggest mistake was being alive at the same time that she is. Because she's like, "You're done. You're over. Now it's the only thing left is for you to burn." It's just like,
Oh yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Anyways,
So there was let's see, I'm trying to see what else we got going on.
hang on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what's really important. What did MJF do this past week?
What did I don't even know what MJF did. He had a match, but I think it was on. What was that even on?
Was it on Dynamite? Is that why? Because it was so long ago that we were just like, yeah, we've seen so much since.
That's the hard part about this, is it being so long ago. I can't even remember.
It is. It is. I like almost have to. I'm gonna have to like binge watch everything on a Sunday or something.
Yeah.
Take notes.
Yeah, I don't even know. It's all kind of blurred together. With kind of what was going on. I know there was
cut a promo. I thought
did he cut a promo?
He may have just cut a promo.
That might be. There were a lot of promos. That's the one thing I remember, was there being a lot of promos.
Highlights. They did show highlights of MJF defending his title over in England.
Yep.
For the promotion that Ospreay used to work in.
Yeah, Rev Pro.
Ospreay, and then was about ready to like really mess the kid up, and then Ospreay came to the rescue. That's what I would remember that. What about the Learning Tree?
Learning Tree, Hook came out and kind of cut a promo and said he wants the belt back, and it's Hook versus Jericho for the World Championship. And if
he doesn't get it, he never gets it ever again.
Never gets it, and he has to get out of Jericho's vortex forever. She was just like, all right.
Oh, no.
Whatever.
So lots of gearing up for the pay-per-view, even though we still got three shows between now and then.
Still got 3 shows between now and then. I'm trying to remember. The Swerve versus, was it Wheeler Yuta? If I remember right.
Yeah.
And that one was pretty good, because then at the end of that, after he gave like Yuta, I think 3 different house calls, that's the move that Mercedes Moné should have been doing. Kick to the face. I get a kick out of that
instead
move.
of the side of the head. Do it to the face.
Right.
In your face. In your face.
Yeah. Do a shining Enziguri would be good. I like that idea. Anyways, so
Ooh. No, Shining Yakuza.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like my hero.
Yeah.
What's his face?
Sema.
No. From old WCW, NWO, Muta, and
Nope.
I'm gonna think about it tomorrow morning.
Yep.
I'm gonna wake up in the morning just screaming some Japanese dude's name.
Yeah.
And not in a weird way.
Not in a weird way. No, he gave him the house calls, and then after the match, I think he gave him another one, and then Bryan Danielson comes running in and Swerve leaves, and while Bryan Danielson's Masahiro Chono. Yeah, there you go.
Masa, my hero, Chono.
Yep. And then while Danielson's like holding up Wheeler Yuta, Swerve slides in and gives him a house call. And it was just like, this is going to be a good match. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I saw the interview with Eddie Kingston talking about Bryan, and I was like, why? Why was this necessary?
I fast forwarded through that.
Yeah.
So
wasn't necessary. It didn't need, didn't add, didn't take away. It did nothing.
Exactly.
For anybody. It was such a great promo that I was more interested in the fact that he had a dog bed in the background, and I was like trying to figure out what size dog it was. The dog wasn't even in the picture, but I'm looking at the dog bed at the bottom of the stairs going, wonder what kind of dog.
Okay, Rampage. Unless you can think of anything else from Dynamite. Rampage.
Nope. Continue.
The conglomeration against the Butcher and the Outrunners. Oh, I got a kick out of that match. I love the Outrunners. Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd. Those are 80s names if I've ever heard them. And they're trying to like do some of the Hulk House stuff. And
yeah, we talked a little bit.
They're selling on the apron of that match. Somebody gets hit and they're like, oh, it was such huge overselling. You're the tag partner. You're not even in receiving it, but you're selling.
I mean, come on.
More than the guy that was receiving it. It was hilarious. The bad part about it is I was focusing on them on the apron selling more than what was actually happening in the ring.
Come on.
So it was good. It was fun. And of course you've got Mark Briscoe, and he's great. So he's awesome. I loved it. Saraya came out, cut a promo with Harley Cameron, I think. I got a kick out of that. Partially because everything that like Saraya was saying, then Harley's like sliding in and screaming, yeah. It's just like,
yeah.
It was like, I'm not in the mood. You're not in the mood. It was hilarious. I loved it.
It was good. And then was that the one where Tony came out and then like cut a promo on her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was good too.
It was so good. So yes,
got
a kick out of that one
right here. The facials, the reaction of the response, and
now the one thing that I'm not quite sure that I liked at all. It was Top Flight against the MXM Collection, Mansoor and Mace, or Mason Madden, I think is what he's going by. I like Mason and Mansoor. I enjoyed watching them when they were the Maxim male models over on WWE with Renee and Maxine Dupree. It was fun. I got a kick out of it. This one, at one spot, there's Mansoor that's in the ring, and like Layla Gray is out with Top Flight, and she jumps up on the apron to like distract him. And Mansoor's like, and he's getting all excited. And then Mason runs on the opposite side. So he's in the center of the ring and they're on opposite sides. He comes to the center of the ring and then he's like, Mansoor. And he's like, and doing one of those. So then Mansoor's in the middle looking one way at Layla Gray. And then he would turn and look the other way at Mason. And they just keep trying to like flirt to catch his attention and one-upping each other. And it was so stupid. And yet I love comedy wrestling because it was just so stupid.
You do.
The whole thing. And of course it distracts him just long enough for whichever member of Top Flight to kick him in the face.
Some people can get a lot of bookings off of it, I've heard.
It happens. So, yeah, I got a kick out of that one. Okay. And then, what do we have on Collision? Yeah, Collision was the Eddie Kingston thing.
Yeah, as well as the
Tony
tag
Storm's
match that we already discussed earlier.
Yep.
Tony Storm's vignette was money. That tag match was
FTR versus Acclaimed.
It
was good.
Because I expect so much more out of FTR.
Yep.
And the near-death experience that they had off that superplex was... I mean, both of them could have broke their neck.
And new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, which makes Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara beating the Kingdom, which now makes Dustin Rhodes a double champion in Ring of Honor. So he's not only the tag champion, he's also the 6-man tag with the Von Erichs. Yeah.
And then we're back to why are we defending another promotion's belts on our show?
True.
If it doesn't have my 3 initials on there on that belt,
right?
You can show up and defend and
bring it out, show it off.
Yeah, show it off. You're cool. You got a belt. Cool. Everybody else does that too, but that's not the point.
Right.
But can you defend it on here? No. I got my own champs. Thanks.
Right. Yeah. So, it was all in all, I will say it was a good week of AEW.
Yes. Yes.
I'm looking forward to All In, but think I'm only looking forward to All In for maybe about 3 or 4 of the 10 matches.
Okay, are we up to 10?
I believe we're up to 10 officially.
We're gonna have to speed run through these predictions.
So let's get in these real quick because we're running down on time.
Yes, let's go.
All right. So if we start off, we're going to be on the 0 hour, and 0 hour is kicking us off with Willow Nightingale versus Tomohiro Ishii against Kris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway.
So let's do this. Why don't you give us Dustin's predictions to start every single one of these off?
Do we want to do that, or do we just want to throw his predictions in the middle like we normally do?
Nah, let's start with his.
Okay. Dustin is predicting Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii. I think he is right. If it wasn't Stokely Hathaway teaming up with Statlander, then I would say Statlander would win.
Maybe.
But yeah, I think Ishii's got that. So.
Ishii's going to murderize somebody's chest.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's going to be fun to watch.
It will be fun. Next up that I've got on here is the Casino Gauntlet match for a guaranteed world title shot. The only one that I believe we know of for sure at this point in time.
As far as a participant?
As far as a participant, I think was it Orange Cassidy? I think that was the one. It was a 3-way on Dynamite, if I remember right. And I think that Orange Cassidy was the one that wound up winning. So, but yeah, that's the only thing there that he's the only one guaranteed. I don't know how many people are even involved in this. I do think this is going to be a match that we are likely to see some returns of people who haven't been around for a while. Say maybe Danhausen, maybe Switchblade Jay White, maybe Jon Moxley. Those are some guys that haven't been around for a little while that I could see coming in for this, especially because it's for a guaranteed world title shot. But I also believe that there could be some people, this could be where debuts come in. I mean, we may even see Keith Lee come back at this one. We may see Miro come back at this one. I don't know. But some people that haven't ever been in AEW, some new signees, could come in here. Maybe Shelton Benjamin. Maybe Bobby Lashley.
I gotta say, this one's gonna be the hardest one for any of us to throw any prediction whatsoever, because we've got a Casino Gauntlet match, but I'm not gonna tell you who's in it. Who's the winner?
Correct. Yeah. So this is the one where any of us could get a point, or none of us get a point. Dustin,
as much as
you want me to give you his, right?
Yeah.
So Dustin believes that this is going to be a new signee to AEW that's going to show up at this and win it, and he believes it is going to be none other than Ricochet. That's his prediction for winning this one.
I could see Ricochet making an appearance here, but to make an appearance and get a title shot the moment you debut, that's spoiling two things in one shot. I can't see it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't see it. It's too much. I don't think it would put any more on his debut, and I think it would just spoil a future title shot that you're going to take away from everybody else on the roster to just hand it to a new hire away.
So that's the other thing.
Be a slap in the face.
But the other thing is thinking about, okay, this is for a guaranteed world title shot. So part of our prediction for this also plays into our prediction for the main event. Like, who do we think is going to win the main event? And does that have to do with here? Because, hey, let's just say, for argument's sake, if I'm thinking a Bryan Danielson's going to win this, I could see a Ricochet coming in and having a match with Bryan Danielson before he fades off into the sunset. I could see that potentially happening. But if it's a Swerve Strickland that winds up winning this, I would be more apt to think that, I don't know, maybe Hangman Adam Page is going to be in this and that he winds up winning this so they can continue their little feud.
Isn't that played out? The fact that they already got him going again and getting a grouchy face against other people now, I mean,
you would think so, but I don't think he's ever really going to give up on that until he buries Swerve. So I don't know.
So are you actually going to?
Oh, I'm going to let you pick first.
Oh, no, thank you.
Dustin said Ricochet. I'll let you pick, and then I'll give you what my thoughts are. I'm going
to say Dustin's wrong, and that's my prediction.
So who do you think?
If we're going to do that, then I might as well just say Nigel McGuinness, and there's my guess. Oh.
That's
interesting. I did notice that Nigel recently in a picture has shaved the sides of his head.
Oh.
And all it takes is
a
little gel.
Yep.
And frosting to put that up.
I had been thinking about how do we get a Nigel versus Bryan Danielson match, but I had not even considered that at all.
Right.
I had not considered Nigel McGuinness making an appearance into the Casino Gauntlet match, but that could work.
Without knowing any other players, that'll be my vote. Unless we get somebody else that really stands out this week, in which case then we'll call an audible before Sunday.
Nah, no audibles. We lock them in now because none of us know anything.
With a whole week and nobody knows nothing.
With a whole week and nobody knows nothing.
Awesome. Let's go.
My thought?
That's it. Nigel's my guess.
Okay. I'm going to go with Jon Moxley. And that kind of tips the hand to who I think is going to win the main event, because I could see a Moxley versus Bryan Danielson again before he cashes out.
And that would be way more interesting, especially being in the same group.
Both in the same, yeah.
Way, way more interesting than a Moxley against Swerve at this point.
Yeah, that's kind of what my thought is. And I do think I want to see Moxley back
from
in
Swerve.
Right.
Swerve is amazing, but
yeah,
that's just where I think it's going.
I'm enjoying Swerve, and I do want to see Swerve versus Hangman again, but that's again going back to the storytelling. You don't need the title shot for Swerve and Hangman to have their feud. But in order to get a Moxley versus Danielson, I think you need that again. So I'll go with Moxley on that one.
And for Swerve and Hangman, the title is actually just going to be like sprinkles on a cupcake.
Correct. Next one up, we have got the For the World Championship. Chris Jericho versus Hook. Dustin is going with Hook. I am going with Hook. I kind of think that we might see a return of Samoa Joe to kind of cost Jericho that belt, which would just be fun to me. Because I want to see, I enjoyed the Jericho Joe back and forth. I'd like to see some more of that. So that would be fun. Jericho doesn't need a title to get over. Hook does. No, and they're obviously trying to get him over.
I think that Hook will be the winner, even in spite of the fact that I would love to shave his head and bust his face and run over that FTW belt with a truck.
Okay. Yep.
It is one of the ugliest titles that they have.
Well, hey, and that whole FTW title, that should be just like with the Ring of Honor stuff. It shouldn't be defended on any AEW show.
No, it's a joke. It's Taz's own personal belt that he made for himself, which is legit.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so we've got Jack Perry, the TNT champion, on defending it against Darby Allin in a coffin match. Dustin is going with Jack Perry on this one.
Oh, and we're back. I can't stand either of these guys. Neither one of them could talk me into paying money.
But it's a real coffin.
Darby Allin is like watching an episode of Jackass. You're waiting to see what happens. And Jack Perry is so vanilla ice cream. He is beyond vanilla ice cream. He's not even ice cream. It's not even vanilla ice cream. It's just ice shavings. So lame.
Unflavored.
Oh my goodness. I TNT Championship. I don't think they're going to give up Jack Perry's belt. He needs anything, and they cannot sit down with two people such as ourselves to be able to say, "Hey, here's your gimmick."
Nope. So, I think he needs to hold on to it. I do think he needs to start running through some
Darby
of the.
Doesn't need it.
Yeah, he needs to start running through some of the face veterans that are out there until Adam Copeland comes back to regain that belt. And then there's the legend that actually beats him.
Who will just school him on every level.
Yep. All right, here's the next one you're probably going to snooze through. TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Dustin has picked Mercedes Moné to win this one. I kind of see this in the same scenario as the last match. I do think that Mercedes needs the belt right now. I don't think Britt Baker needs it. I think there's more intriguing storylines. Plus, I would like to see maybe some Camille interference costing Britt Baker, and then she kind of gets into it. Or maybe even a return of Jamie Hayter to set up a little feud with Britt Baker. That would be fun. But I think Mercedes Moné wins this one.
Okay. I am so torn, and you're making great points. I don't think Moné particularly needs that belt because she already has.
She does have the New Japan Women's Strong.
However, ugh, and oh my gosh, from what I've seen, Britt can out wrestle Moné like every day of the week, twice on Sunday, and she can out talk her too. So, yeah. Ugh. This one is the one where I'm so torn between what I want to happen and what I think will happen.
I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, fine. I think Moné will keep a belt.
Okay. That will lead us to the AEW World Tag Team Championship. We have got the Young Bucks defending the belts against both FTR and the Acclaimed. Dustin is saying FTR is going to win this one. What say you, Corey? I'm not sure if Dustin's picking what he wants to happen or just what he thinks is going to happen with FTR.
I think he's picking what he wants to happen.
that could be. That's what I want to happen.
Right.
Because, hey, if we talk about people that need the belt, the two best tag teams inside AEW are in this match, and that is FTR and the Young Bucks. They are the best two teams inside of AEW. They don't need the belts.
I think the Young Bucks have lost something in the last year.
I would not disagree with that.
And they've lost a lot by what they've gained, as in weight.
And I would not necessarily disagree. At the same time, they could still lose a whole lot more and still be better than the rest of the tag teams in tag teams.
Yeah,
we're not talking like trio stuff, but straight up tags. They're better than most, and that's where I think the Acclaimed needs the belt. But
being
is that going to matter?
Being the shiniest turd in the bowl is not a claim to fame. So let's not go there. I'm better than these guys. Yeah, okay. Well, doesn't make you the best. Gosh. Yeah, I know. Dead air.
You're not quite sure what you want.
Not quite sure.
Or what you think is going to happen.
You want me to say what I want. So you thought what now?
I have not picked yet.
Shame on you. You should do that while I sit here and twist in turmoil and give myself an ulcer.
All right. I'll go ahead and I'll give you one on this one. Just for the reasons that I laid out, that I do think that the Acclaimed need it more. And it feels like the Acclaimed have been flirting with a heel turn. I think that the Acclaimed are going to win this one. I don't think it's going to be a clean thing. I think they're going to, cheat in order to get it. I don't think they're going to necessarily pin the Young Bucks. I think they're going to, schoolboy pull the tights type of a deal, on Dax. So I think the Acclaim is going to win this one, and we'll have new AEW tag champs.
I desperately don't want to say that.
I don't want to either. I want FTR to win it. I want FTR to kind of have the run of the show for a little while. I've not thought that they've had a good long run like they deserve. I also like the idea of them being, I think it would be 3-time champions. Then you've also got the case that this is the second All In, and last year at All In, that's when FTR did beat the Young Bucks.
Oh, they did.
So. Oh,
yeah. Then they're not. I don't see them doing it
I'm
again
pretty
this year,
sure. Let me double check.
So that's out of the equation. Ugh. Yeah, don't you feel like the only thing that's keeping the Acclaimed from being heels is Bill Gunn?
Yes. And yet he would be the one that could be the outside interference too, to pull it over and turn heel, because Billy Gunn can go heel really easy. He just doesn't care.
He could flip it right now,
yeah.
But the
and yes, at 2023's All In, FTR versus Young Bucks and FTR won.
Yeah, crap.
Hey, do they do it again? 2 times in London?
No, I don't see it. I don't see it now. But I could also see the Young Bucks just
retaining
onto the belts. I'm gonna say the Young Bucks.
Okay.
That way, this match we know we're all.
One of us is getting a point on this one.
There we go.
All right. So the next one, we have got the AEW American, not International Championship. MJF, the American champion, versus Will Ospreay, the former international champion.
How many times has this belt changed the name? 3?
No, this has been the only time.
I thought it was like the,
no, it was like the, well,
it was some other.
I don't remember. I don't think it did, but it might
like
have been.
North American.
Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking now, but now I don't even remember if that was true.
North American, then it went to international, then it went to.
Dustin is picking Will Ospreay to win this one, and thus change the name back to the AEW International. It's in London. It's I don't know. What do you think?
See, this is the problem. I should do my homework more. And by homework, I mean sit there and twist and torment before the pod.
See, I don't know. Like, do we think that Will Ospreay, the hometown hero, one of the greatest, like, UK wrestlers, like one of the greatest wrestlers to come out of the UK, do we think that he's going to win in his hometown? Or do we think that MJF is going to pull the heel of all heel moves and beat him in his hometown, and then continue this American Championship?
You just solidified that decision for me, because I was leaning more on. Do I think that MJF is going to change this title just for this whole gimmick, just for this match? And that's what I was kind of like questioning now. Oh, hometown boy? No, you don't get to win. Is MJF going to be that much of a heel? Oh yeah, totally. So yeah, I'm gonna say MJF.
Okay. Here's the only thing that still has me up in the air. The only thing that still has me up in the air.
If anybody could cause a riot, MJF will do it. So, and at Wembley. So let's go.
Yeah. But that's what I want to see. Like, as much as I want to see Will Ospreay win and restore it back to the International Championship, because I liked what he was doing and I like the fact that he will and can defend it internationally. The flip side is MJF has been defending the American Championship internationally. He defended it in Mexico at CMLL.
I know.
He defended it at Rev Pro. So
it's beautiful.
That's hilarious to me. Here's the one caveat that gives me a little bit of pause. Ricochet. He's a free agent and he's out there. And when he comes in, I know there's a match between him and Will Ospreay in the works.
And
again,
a belt is not required.
Again, the belt is not required for that. But it's like, where does Ricochet make his debut? And it's like,
not here.
I could see him doing it at this if it weren't this match. So, for all the reasons we have both said, I do think it's going to be MJF to win this. I just think it would be hilarious. The next place I want to see MJF go is defend the American Championship over in New Japan. Go work a show for them and defend it over there.
Yes.
And then talk about how the American Championship goes all around the world. It's the true world championship.
Yes.
Like, that would just be fun. So, okay, here's
what, and as Americans, we're hated all over the planet. So yeah, let's do it.
It's funny. Yep. The next one that is up, this is the AEW World Trios match that has been thrown in. It is a London ladder match. So we're getting 4 teams of 3 in a ladder match. Confirmed, we have the Patriarchy defending their belt. I'm assuming it's not going to be Nick Wayne's mom. I think it's going to be Nick Wayne, Christian Cage, and Killshot.
2 things. Duh. And is that not brilliant?
It's hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. Yep.
Christian should just be the booker of the whole show.
So they are going against the 2 confirmed teams that we have of the Bang Bang Gang, consisting of Juice Robinson and the Guns. Although, could we see Jay White come back in and then he kind of takes that place? I don't know. Also against the House of Black. And then there is the wild card team that is supposed to be announced on Collision, I believe. So we will not know until Saturday.
Jerks.
Now, this is a
who do you think that's going to be?
This is a World Trios. I don't know. Could it be Top Flight? Maybe.
No.
How awesome would it be if it was Death Triangle? Like the Lucha Brothers and Pac? That would be hilarious.
The ones that were taken out of a tag title match.
Right.
To then a couple weeks later, with all the talk and the discussion, are they, weren't they, will they, won't they, to get thrown into this?
Oh, that would be huge.
That would throw a monkey wrench in the jello for me.
And it would throw the whole wrestling world on its head if they actually won it.
And that's why you do it.
Yep. Now, I think it was also on Collision or Rampage that we had Private Party and Scorpio Sky seemingly having a little backstage thing. Maybe they're a team. Maybe it's the Blackpool Combat Club. Maybe we get Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio Castagnoli for this one. That's a possibility. Or could we wind up having this match being where, like, a trio of new AEW signees, the new Hurt Business that comes in. We get Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, and MVP. Like,
as amusing as that would be, I think more likely going to be either Undisputed or the Conglomeration.
Or the Ring of Honor 6-man, and we get Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs.
We just split the belts up. Let's not put them back together already. Come on.
So, I don't know who all of these are going to be. Dustin has picked, he said it doesn't matter to him who the wild card is going to be. He says House of Black is winning this.
Okay.
For me, I think somehow that little weasel of Christian Cage is able to be the cockroach that never dies, and he figures out to hold on to these belts, and they retain again. And it's probably going to be something as stupid as everybody is out of there, and Nick Wayne's mom climbs up and gets the belts. And she's like, I'm actually the title champion, so I can do it. She's like, I think the Patriarchy is going to retain. I don't want to see that. I would prefer House of Black or Bang Bang Gang or Death Triangle. But, and I really hope Death Triangle is the third one. I really hope that's the case. Fourth team. Yeah. I hope that's the case. If so, if that's the team, if that's what we've got, this may be one of the best ladder matches that has ever occurred. Like, it's already shaping up to be pretty. So that's my guess. I'm going with Patriarchy. Dustin's going with the House of Black. Corey is going with...
I am not picking the Bang Bang Gang. I mean, they're growing on me, but no. And we
one of the best entrances in the business.
Sure, but that's not wrestling. And
two of the best sellers in the business.
We're talking about a ladder match.
We're talking about a ladder match, yeah. Christian Cage is the king of ladder matches.
Oof. And
according to him,
Cage, he's one more than the Hardy Boys.
And who knows what happens if Adam Copeland shows up and cost him this match, just to get a little revenge on him.
I was dream booking while you were talking about all the different possibilities and going, wait a minute, how long does it take for Bone to heal and then come back and Adam Copeland
and the Hardys?
No. I was thinking, what if he were to grab like his old school edge heads, round them back up, and
what if he comes in, costs Christian the belt, and gets the House of Black to win it? Because remember, it was him against Malachi, and they were supposed to be a part of his, so...
I'm gonna start twitching.
And we still got 2 matches to go.
Yeah, we're spending too much time fantasy booking. Okay, I'm gonna say somehow Christian pulls this out. Patriarchy. Okay. He's gonna do some shadiness. He has been on a roll, and he is money left and right, and he's gonna do something and screw everybody over.
My favorite heel in the business right now.
Because if you and that's with MJF on.
That's with MJF too, there.
Right? Yeah. I mean, the guy that will flip out and curse out a 6-year-old.
Correct.
But
that's with Dominic Mysterio being out there too. Like,
who doesn't do anything? He comes out there and puts the microphone up, and people boo him out of the building.
Yep.
I mean, he's the male Vicky Guerrero at this point.
Yeah.
But you're talking if you put the Bang Bang Gang in there against any other team, they're heels. You put the House of Black in there against any other team, they're heels. You got the Patriarchy in there, they're the heels.
Everybody else is a heel.
Everybody else is baby except for Christian.
You could have Nick Wayne, his mom, and Luchasaurus as all faces, but the fact that they've got Christian Cage on their side, they're automatically heels.
All heels, yeah.
It is what it is. So.
Yeah, so I'm saying Christian Cage is going to do it.
Okay. Next one, AEW Women's World Championship. It is the champion, Timeless Toni Storm, versus Mariah May. Dustin is going with the champion to retain, Toni Storm. Corey, what says you?
Well, I was saying Toni Storm up until you proposed it. And I started thinking how many titles are changing by my predictions, which is not that many.
You've got Hook taking that one.
Sure. Have I got another at least?
Nope, that's the only one that you've got going. And the last 2 are the Women's World Championship and the Men's World Championship. But that's also assuming that you were right on all of those, and so the only one that's changed is...
Crap.
Because I think Dustin has got... Dustin's got FTR, so he's picking that one to change. I had the Acclaim picking that to change. Dustin has Ospreay, so he was thinking that one was going to change. And he picked House of Black, so he thought that was going to change. So he's not thinking this is changing.
All right. I'm still going to say Toni Storm's going to retain.
Okay.
On a side note, Mariah May looks much better with her hair all did, aside from being all flat like it was this past week when she looked like
Yeah.
3 other female wrestlers on the roster.
Yep. And I am actually going to split the difference. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to say Mariah May wins this one. And partially, actually, solely because I enjoy this Mariah May Toni Storm feud more than any of Toni Storm's other feuds. And I think the best way to continue it is for Mariah May to win.
Crap. You make a valid point.
There's something about the face being in the chase.
Because if Toni wins this, then it's done. It doesn't drag out anymore. And who do they have to put up against her? No one.
It's up for the next woman in line, and they'll build somebody else up and in there. So
you're killing me.
It's so much fun.
And my near empty jug of between this and my near empty jug of iced tea.
Right.
No. Flip it. Go back to Mariah May. No.
Are we
Mariah May?
Mariah May. Okay, you're switching her up before it's locked in. Mariah May is in there. Okay.
Bryan Danielson done.
And you have got Bryan Danielson on this one. Dustin has got Bryan Danielson on this one. I have got Bryan Danielson on this one. I've loved Swerve's run. And I think if Swerve was facing anybody else than Bryan Danielson, who just loves to work people and has been talking more about his career ending than he has ever talked about in his entire life, I might believe it. I don't see it happening yet. So I think he has this. And who knows? Maybe he only has it for 2 weeks. Maybe it is, according to my prediction, Jon Moxley that winds up winning the gauntlet, the Casino Gauntlet, and then we in 2 weeks wind up getting him versus, Danielson, and Jon Moxley beats him. Or maybe he takes it on.
Nigel.
Yeah. Maybe Nigel wins it and we get Nigel and him. But if it's him and Nigel, I think that holds off until like Wrestle Dream in October. Just because of it being up there in the Northeast and having the Japan connection.
Right. If they did not put his career on it, I would say this would be an easy slam dunk. But the fact that they put his career on it.
Yeah.
Not a full-time situation, but
the whole career. Yep.
You just can't.
Yep. I kind of agree. So I think that's got us all locked in. We've ran long this time, guys. So for those that are watching, let us know what your predictions are. You got all week, so let us know. And you could wind up giving us your predictions on Saturday, and then you've got a whole lot more information than we do.
And don't worry, because I've changed my mind 5 times on this episode, and we'll change my mind another 10 times before the week, and we still probably have another 4 matches that they're going to throw on the card.
This is true. I do expect we're going to have at least 2 more matches as my predictions, so I think we'll wind up getting like 12. That might be AEW sweet spot. So.
It's Wembley.
It's Wembley,
baby.
It is Wembley. Oh, and who knows? Maybe we see some of those UK wrestlers making appearances in the Casino Gauntlet, that are like locals. So there's a possible. Gato, maybe. He might be able to make an appearance. Maybe we'll wind up getting Simon Miller making an appearance. That would be fun. Give us an up and a down. Anywho.
Good stuff.
All right, that's all we got for this episode. Until next time, see you later.
Bye, guys.